Morning, everyone. Rise and shine because we have a very special guest on Autism Mama Bear Talk. It's very early. As you can see, my brain is still frozen, but we have Tucker Bearden with us, who is inspiring the world. He inspired me personally, and now I bring him to you so he can share his amazing story with you guys as well. Welcome, Tucker.
Howdy, how y'all doing? It's a blessing to be here.
Awesome. Uh, Tucker, your life is just phenomenal. I mean, I've been following you on YouTube, on Facebook. You started inspiring the world, and wow, which is we only win.
Yes, the We Only Win Club is actually one of my mentors, Will Owens. He runs the We Only Win Club, and he was one of the people that I got connected to a long time ago. That actually several years ago, and me and him. Like back when I worked on the farm 7 days a week, 365 days a year, upwards of 12 plus hours a day,
Oh,
he was on the phone with me nearly every day, just pushing me to do something greater with my life and break free of this not just 9 to 5, but 9 to 9 job, or
right.
7 to 7, whichever it is that I was working at the time. And so I thoroughly support the We Only Win Club, and I'm actually a mentor for the We Only Win Club and people who want to break out of their everyday routine and
Hmm.
make more of themselves. So,
Wow, we need people like you. We need a lot more people like you. And I love your quote. You said it takes a day, or motivation lasts a day, but inspiration lasts a lifetime.
yes, ma'am.
So that's how you decided to actually become the one that inspires the world, so it lasts lifetime and not just motivate someone to do okay and touch other people's hearts just for a day or two, right?
Well, yes, ma'am. And the reason that I say that is because motivation, to define motivation, is to provide someone with a motive for what they do. And honestly, I don't believe that I'm capable of motivating anyone because your motive is your why. Why do you do what you do?
Mm.
I can't provide you with a why. I can't tell you, I can't reach into your heart, I can't reach into your soul and tell you why it is that you do what you do, but I can inspire
Oh,
people,
yes.
to inspire others, because my goal is to inspire at least one person in this world who will inspire others to change the world. And when you look at it from that perspective and you take motivation out of it and you stick solely to inspiration, it's more than just standing on a stage and getting people hyped and getting someone ready to go, because like that, there's a saying that stands true, and it says that motivation is like taking a shower. We recommend it daily. It wears off.
Hmm.
But inspiration, when something lights a fire in your soul, like for instance, whatever it was that happened in your life specifically that inspired you to make this broadcast,
Hmm.
to become the Autism Mama, that in general, that was inspiration.
Yes.
Now, your reason is motivation. Your why is motivation. But what drives you is your inspiration. And there is a huge difference that many people do not even know exists.
Wow. That's deep. That's profound, almost. Wow.
Well, thank you.
It's true. I mean, oh my goodness, it's only 8 o'clock in North Carolina where I'm. Whew, that's deep. But it's true. Yes, motivation is the why I do what I do. But yes, I am inspired by just trying to share this mission because I treat it as my mission. I do it for my son and I do it for all the other people who are living with autism or have someone on the autism spectrum. And back to autism topic, I know that you have been diagnosed with Asperger's. Could you
Yes,
please tell
ma'am.
us a little bit about your background, your diagnosis, and a little bit about your childhood?
Yes, ma'am. Around the age of 8 years old, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is a neurological abnormality that hinders one's natural abilities to understand social cues as well as emotional responses. There's a plethora of other things that come along with Asperger's, is mostly just the fact that I'm weird, but
Aren't we all?
but yeah, but as a kid, it was just making friends. Making friends was extremely complicated because being social with other people is a requirement in this world. It's you can't just be a hobbit and hide under a rock and never expect to accomplish anything. So as a child, it became quickly apparent that I was going to have to force myself to socialize with others because, see, my social anxiety um, can become so extreme that I can actually be hospitalized with life threatening panic attacks. For instance, when I was in Vegas here recently speaking at the Authority Makers Boot Camp, before the boot camp, the day before, I had just gotten to Vegas. It was my first time, and we were sitting on the strip in front of the Mirage Hotel. And if you've ever been to the Mirage, you know that there is a volcano in the front yard. So
Sensory overload.
yes,
Oh yes.
literally, that is the exact word, sensory overload. I was sitting there and the volcano exploded. We're all the way on the other side of the street, and you could feel the fire against you. And it's going up, and all these people are going crazy, and there's a DJ over there, wicka, 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 doing all that. And there's people with, you can hear the ice in people's glasses as they swish it around,
Oh,
and you can hear the electricity going through the lights above. And I almost got put in the hospital that day.
wow.
I was if it wasn't for Lauren Harris is my speaking coach,
And he's a brilliant speaker as well.
and was
Tucker, I think we have technical difficulty. Your picture is frozen. Let me see what I can do. Don't worry, all the viewers, please stay with us because it's just temporary issue. I'm sure we can fix it. Let me just refresh it here. And we will be right back. Right back. 1 second. We're just trying to figure out what caused this, but don't worry. We'll continue. I mean, it's amazing. As you can see, Tucker already explained the sensory overload, how it feels physically and emotionally, what a huge weight it is for a person on the spectrum to experience this sensory overload. And I can say the same. I can see in my son Michael, when we go even in the mall. Before it was like very overwhelming for me. Even now, going to the mall is like a nightmare. I am not a typical woman that goes and loves doing shopping and going from shop to shop, spending hours in the mall. I get panic attacks. I get very cold palms and cold sweat, and I just don't like it. And I think Michael has it from me. But I can see that now over time, he learned to cope with sensory impact pretty well. And like Tucker described, when all those lights that we take for granted, we just go, it's all flashy lights, there's a DJ in the background, there are people talking, laughing, screaming, taking pictures. He could hear electricity going through those lights. I mean, that's how high sensitive his sensors are. He can see the noise. He can hear the ice cubes in the glass when people are drinking their drinks. I mean, it's pretty powerful stuff. That's why I do what I do, because I want to raise this awareness that children, especially young children on the spectrum, they are not little brats. They are not misbehaving. They are just having sensory overload, which physically hurts them. And when you see a child entering a restaurant, we take it for granted. We don't hear the background noises in the kitchen. We don't hear waiters taking orders. We
I'm
don't
live.
hear people. Oh,
Can
welcome back.
anyone else,
We
does
have
anyone
Tucker
that's
back with us.
on the
Wonderful.
app know how to fix this problem? Because I'm new to the app.
No,
I'm just a
that's
guest,
perfect. It just
and
froze
my
once.
host has vanished.
I am here.
Um, help.
Can you see me now?
uh, let me see. What do we have here? I've
Can you
never
see
used
me
this
and can
app
you hear me?
before. It says I'm live,
Yes,
and
you
I have
are.
no way to communicate with anyone.
I can see you and I can hear you. Can you see me? Can you see me now, Tucker? Oh, bear with us. Let me refresh again, and we'll bring you back shortly. 1 second. Let me refresh. Stay with us. I will just refresh. It will be just a quick second. And we're back. Tucker, are you with us? Okay, one more time. Tucker will refresh his link and he'll be right back with us. Isn't it fascinating how we take for granted all the noises, all the sensors that we have, all the situations that surround us, and
My host
for
has
adults on the
disappeared.
spectrum just have to deal with that. We have Tucker back with us. Tucker,
Somewhere.
I can see you now. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, 1 second. Please stay on. All right. Tucker, are you back? Oh, let's see. I will give Tucker 1 more minute and we'll continue. We're discussing Tucker is an amazing young person. He's only 25 years old and already inspiring the world to change, to accept people on the autism spectrum, to understand what autism feels like. But he's not only talking about autism, he is truly inspiring people to be better, to do better, to touch people's hearts. Like he mentioned, touching the heart of hearts, uh, which I loved. He's an amazing young man who is doing so much, but his life wasn't always easy and wasn't always as rosy as it may seem now. But I want him to come back and tell a little bit more about his past and how his life changed, and also the big role of his mentor, or a public speaking coach, Mr. Lauren Harris. Amazing host. He's got his own show, and I hope you can check it out. I believe Tucker back with us.
I don't know if we're frozen to
One
everybody, but
back. Are you there, Tucker? Tucker, 1 second. Bear with us. We're not going anywhere. We'll be right back, guys. Please stay tuned. And we're back. I hope we can see Tucker soon. 1 second. Technical difficulties. May the force be with you. Tucker will restart his phone and hopefully we'll get him any second now. It should work. And it's not even a Monday, huh? I would like to thank Todd Missy, McKehan. Thank you so much for your prayers. You know, all children on the spectrum would need our prayers, everyone's prayers. So if you know someone on the spectrum, or if you have anyone in the family, please make sure that you keep them in your prayers, and the families as well.
Okay, I'm
We're
back.
back.
Okay, I can't see you, but it shows a big picture of me. I'm not
Okay.
that.
As
Uh,
long as you can hear me, we can continue, and then it will work.
okay. Well,
Wonderful. So let's get back to Las Vegas. You were talking about the sensory overload and how you ended up actually being hospitalized, right?
no, no, no. I was on the verge. I was on the verge of being hospitalized, and
Right.
Lauren Harris is actually my speaking coach,
Mm-hmm.
and his husband Brian
Mm-hmm.
was there, and he's a psychiatrist. So he kind of understood what was going on in my head and was able to actually talk me out of a panic attack while it was going on. Like I said, the volcano was exploding. I could hear the lights crackling. People. I could actually hear the guy behind me was swishing ice around in his glass, and which I mean, the actual sound of the ice was echoing in my head. So like you said, it was sensory, complete and total sensory overload.
Mm-hmm.
But this used to happen. Like I couldn't even go to Walmart for the most part whenever I was younger because there were so many people and sounds and smells and textures,
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature would cause me to spaz out. But yes, in Vegas, it was something.
Oh,
It was
yes,
definitely something.
I can imagine. So you mentioned also, that textures and different things, so all kinds of sensors really are affected, right?
Yes, like for instance, I only use one pillow and actually only use this blanket because of the texture of it. It's very I don't I can't stand certain things like I can't wear certain kinds of pants and certain types of shirts because the texture will is I don't know how to describe it honestly except for maybe uh, I don't know, sandpaper, maybe.
Oh
To
my.
describe, maybe
Yeah.
certain textures to me feel like sandpaper. I guess best way I can put it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So very uncomfortable.
Yes, yes,
So
very,
have
very
you
uncomfortable.
always, I mean, when did you notice that, other kids were acting different than you and didn't go through the same struggles that you did?
In elementary school,
Uh-huh.
I actually noticed the difference whenever, like I said, like for instance, I used to sit in the exact same spot every day on the playground on the left side of a small aluminum bench,
Mhm.
and I played with two or three little rocks there and played with the dirt, playing with it in the sense of like a child would be drawing in the sand. It was more of an observation, more trying to figure out what it was.
Mhm.
Just the every little speck and crevice of it. Just sitting there contemplating, and I noted many times I would go to lunch and sit down and begin looking at one of these rocks or a handful of dirt. And then I would look up and the school bell would be ringing, and I had been sitting there for 30 minutes or so, whatever, however long the lunch was. And the other children, they would play with Hot Wheels and other toys, and they'd run and play with each other. And I remember the screeching sound of their laughter. I mean, you know how when a kid, when you're small and kids run around, they scream.
Yeah.
Well, that noise. I mean, till this day, that noise is just like ah.
Yeah.
um, so I didn't play with the other students. In fact, I was bullied profusely by the other students, and like I noticed that they would group together and I would separate myself and go away from them. And their conversations that they had, I mean, just as any child, most children, their conversation holds really no value. They just, I mean, they're going to talk about, I guess, bricks being red and how Sally's stupid or whatever, like whatever it is that kids talk about. But I was not part of those conversations. It was all I remember like a kid actually wanted me to play with him one time, and I was stuck in contemplation because there was a cloud, and it was the only cloud up there, and it was the first time I ever stopped and wondered, how does that stay up there? And it's just like sitting there for extended periods of time, stuck in a single thought. But noticed that the other children didn't do that. They played and did sports and things of that nature, and it wasn't my forte.
Yeah. I understand. So the bullying basically, you had to experience bullying basically throughout all your school years, right?
Yes, from elementary to high school. I honestly, I know that there are people out there who would hear my story and laugh when it comes to when I say that my childhood was daunting, but but I truly believe that bullying was one of the most daunting tasks that I ever did take on. There, from elementary school all the way up to high school, my autism was quite apparent. It's not as apparent today, unless you were to hang around me every day, then you would notice the nitpicky things. But my ability to socialize was the greatest downfall when it comes to bullying, and it was one of the biggest causes because I didn't know how to conversate with other kids, and I didn't know how to emotionally connect to them. I had a tendency to say things that offended them, and I still do to this day, say things that may offend someone, and I have no idea that what I've said is offensive, and then they get angry, and I can't figure out why they're angry. And I used to come home with my shirts torn or pieces of clothes missing. I used to my aunt and my uncle went to the school over and over and over again, begging them to do something about it because I mean there were times I couldn't pay for my lunch because they took my lunch money just as any typical bully would, and like one of the things that really really got me was I actually went to a teacher one time, and there were these signs all over school that said no bullying will be tolerated. Bullying is punishable by expulsion.
Right.
And I actually was being bullied at one point and tore one of these signs off the wall, and I'm in tears. Half my shirt was torn. I was in tears, and I went to the teacher and I laid this sign on the desk. I remember it was my social studies teacher. I laid it on her desk and I said, I'm being bullied. Like, please help me. I come to this woman in tears, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, please, you're supposed to help me, help me. And she not only pushed it off her desk into the trash, but her, along with the entire class, began laughing. So, and I mean, one another thing in school, the football coaches, and these are coaches that are still there till this day in Star City High School. The football coaches um, actually joined in with the students and pushed them to bully me. I was actually the water boy for the football team at one point, and the
Mhm.
coach actually had the football players jump me in the gym room just to see, just for the fun of it. I mean, just to do it. And I mean, there were things like this through, I mean, throughout school, and then finally I got a vehicle and I started driving to school, and people would take, like, the baseball team would spit all their sunflower seeds into a bucket and then dump them in my car, and things like that. And I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Uh, you know, as a mom, I it was very hard for me to listen to because I immediately see my boy in the same situation, and even though he's going to a school for children with autism, but I'm always concerned about him. I'm always, because he's nonverbal, so he cannot express if he's being bullied, and I know that the school is protecting him, but just this vulnerability, it just breaks my heart. And when you described your torment, it really breaks my heart.
Well,
And that's why,
I'm glad to know that
I'm
somebody
glad
cares.
that you are here, that you are sharing this, because we need to make people aware and educate the teachers, the schools, and other parents, because really kids are born tolerant. They don't see color, they don't see different color, they don't see different behaviors or anything like that. They see other kid. Like even my daughter, she was born 3 years after my son, and she was growing up with my son Michael. He showed some odd behaviors and screaming and different things, sensor overload as well, so meltdown, tantrums constantly. And she thought it's okay, it's normal. I mean, yes, it's not that she does that, but she was like, okay, we have to help Michael calm down. And then, when Michael joined school that she was going to, she was just so proud and beaming with pride. That's my brother. And other kids started like, why is he so weird? Why is he acting, strange? And she was like, don't you talk like that about my brother? He's my brother. And then she started educating those kids. And then teachers asked if we can make, because it was the regular private school,
Mhm.
neurotypical, and
Yeah.
they actually came with initiative with other parents to educate parents and children. So for children it was
Mhm.
more um, game, like, Michael had to bring his favorite fruits, food, and drinks and toys that he liked to play with. And other kids saw that, hey, I like this food. Hey, I like grapes too, I like bananas. Hey, I like airplanes too, that's my favorite toy, so he's really a lot like me. And they started, realizing that yes, he's different in different aspects, but a lot of things are exactly the same, like other boys go through. Also, parents, they were asking me questions, and they were a little bit uncomfortable because they didn't want to offend me. But I was like, please,
Mhm.
any question you have, even if it's very uncomfortable, ask me, because I'd rather you ask me and I can tell you than you are guessing and treat my son differently. So that
Yes.
was my mission.
Yeah.
But yes,
It is.
bullying is a big part of autism awareness, because kids on the autism spectrum, especially the nonverbal ones, they are more vulnerable, and very often they are bullied. So
And there is a side of that. There's a very serious note that people have to come to understand,
yeah,
and that is that one of the things we're seeing more and more now is school shootings.
yes,
Like, kids are literally, and I say this not only from the bottom of my heart, but from a place of helplessness, because besides going live and talking to people, we're not in the school. We can't stop these things. It's up to the teachers, it's up to the principals, it's up to the parents to step into the schools and tell them and say that, look, if you keep taking bullying as a joke, I mean, there are literally, and what I experienced is not rare.
hmm,
There are teachers, I know teachers personally, who think bullying is a joke. and they literally, I mean, teachers at Star City High School in Arkansas think bullying is a joke, and they literally will laugh at
Mhm.
students who come to them for help. And I'm going to tell you right now, and if there are teachers watching this, if there
Mhm.
are people in the school watching this, children are dying because of you. You are killing children because these school shootings don't happen for no reason. They happen because these kids, and it ain't always a kid that's bullied that does this.
Mhm.
But most of the time,
Yes.
these tragedies happen because these children reach out for help and they are left hanging. They're left with nothing. They don't see any other option. They are pushed and bullied to their breaking point, and it is the teacher's fault. The
Mhm.
teachers are the ones allowing school shootings to happen.
Yeah.
And if they don't actually take action, punish children for bullying, all those signs that are in that school say that bullying can be punished by suspension or expulsion, but not a single child has been punished. Not one has been punished for bullying in that school district. Not one. And I've actually reached back to the school since I've graduated and
Mhm.
tried to get some statistics or and actually find out if they're taking action, and they're still doing nothing. They put signs up everywhere that say no bullying allowed, and they think, oh well, that's okay,
Well, that's a
that's
joke.
fine. Yeah, and it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. They literally put signs up that tell kids not to bully each other, and the kids use the signs as jokes and as fuel to bully people.
Yes.
And they hear the word bullying, and they hear, oh well, why don't you just toughen up? It's toughening them up. We can't be so sensitive. Blah blah blah. Look, this isn't a liberal agenda or nothing like this. These are children's lives we are
Yes.
playing with. And
Oh, I agree.
I don't speak on this subject from just a place of pain. I speak on this subject from a place of rage,
Mhm.
because I mean I was dating a girl at the time that the Columbine happened.
Mhm.
She was in the. Have you ever heard of the story of the girl who said yes?
No.
Okay, well, there were during the Columbine, supposedly there was a girl who was asked, "Do you believe in God?" And she said yes, and the guy shot her. Well, that never happened.
Okay.
That was all public. That was all for the news.
Right.
Because like I said, my girlfriend was in the room. She was sitting beside the girl who got shot, and the guy in there asked the room in general, do you believe in God? And several people in there said yes, and he shot one of them. But they used that as publicity to
Mhm.
make money, to get things for their school. They have not done anything to stop bullying with any of these school shootings that have happened. They
Mhm.
put it off as the parents. There's something wrong with the parents. There's something wrong at home. They put it off as, oh well, the child was unstable.
Mhm.
No, I mean, yes, the kids at the Columbine, yes, they were absolutely crazy. I mean, they were not bullied. It was not the case. I'm just using that as an example
Yes.
because
I
everyone
understand.
knows about it.
Mhm.
But if something is not done with the teachers, because it
Mhm.
ain't the students, it's the teachers' fault. And I know the teachers are overwhelmed, but if they don't take action and begin punishing these students, more lives will be lost. And I apologize for getting off subject and going into that, but it's something that I'm very, very, very
What?
serious about.
Very absolutely. This is a very timely concern of the whole country and the whole world, really. But we are talking
Yeah.
about America and American school shootings. Yes, it's a very, very serious matter. And yes, I know it's the gun debate, but also many of those kids, it's a fact, they were on psychotropic medication as well.
Yes, yes.
So
And that's another thing too, is that parents and psychiatrists pump their kids full of expensive medications
Mhm.
and say, "Oh well, it's you're just not right. Well, here we'll give you this pill and it'll make you feel better. And oh well, here I can drug you up and then you'll act normal.
Mhm.
What's
And the funny
what's
thing is
normal?
that,
Please define normal."
yeah, exactly. Many times those medications, like this is for medication for depression, may cause side effects, severe side effects like suicidal thoughts, depression. Like, what? Hello, stop. A medication for depression may cause suicidal thoughts and depression?
Yeah, it's like I wasn't even thinking about killing myself, but it's
Yes.
probably a good idea right about now. Like, like, yeah, the medication. Look, big pharma, the
Mm-hmm.
pharmaceutical companies that create these pills,
Mm-hmm.
they promote these bad diagnoses. They want parents to say, "Oh, well, this is wrong with the kid, so we'll just give them a pill that'll fix it." And then years down the line, that child will need another pill to fix a problem that pill caused
That's right.
down there. And it's nothing but making money. It people with kids on the spectrum, stop giving your kids pills to try and fix them. A kid, they say, oh, children have ADD and ADHD. No, they don't. It's a kid. They're a child. They're supposed to be running around with their screaming and hollering and having a good time and enjoying the world. That's what children do. Oh, well,
Yeah.
my kid doesn't pay attention in class.
Uh-huh.
It's a child. They're not supposed to. Like, I mean, and then we give them drugs, and these drugs, like, I cannot sit here and tell you that giving a child a shot causes autism. I can't sit here and tell you that it doesn't. I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you that giving a kid medication doesn't help with their neurological processes. But I can't say that it does. But using it as an excuse because people don't want to be parents and they don't actually want to sit down and come to understand their child, so
Mm-hmm.
they give it drugs. They say, oh well, there's something wrong with my kids, so here, let me give them Ritalin so they'll pay attention in class or they'll be quiet and sit there. Let me tell you something. Years ago, if a child were to sit there like this right here,
Mm-hmm.
it they would think that they would think something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, big pharma, it's a scam.
Yes, I agree.
Medication, it's all about the money.
It
It's not
is.
about helping anybody.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, kids are maybe diagnosed with ADHD or ADD because they cannot sit still. Yes, because they go to school, sit there for what, 6, 7 hours. Recess is usually in the class and playing on their laptops or iPads because it's a free time. So they go on YouTube or whatever, and then they go back to the class. They don't have time to run around in the park or fresh air, sunlight. Then they come home and they're just sitting playing their video games. I'm also guilty because my kids as well, they come home and they love their tablets. But we try to take them out more, and they love exercise, they love being active, so we go for walks in the park, we go outside and they ride their scooters, bicycles. We have a huge trampoline, so they just go until they cannot breathe. They jump for an hour and then they're like, and then they're calm. Surprise. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, all of a sudden they did something physical and they act like what people call normal.
Right.
Ain't that something?
Yeah. So absolutely, you touched on the very icky subject, very uncomfortable subject, but it had to be addressed. The school shootings, the bullying, big pharma, it's all coming together, and we can see the results, sadly.
Yes.
Uh,
It's, I mean, when you
another
base the
another
world
point
off
that I
money,
wanted to ask you was, what do you wish autism unaware people knew about autism?
I wish people, honestly, if I could say anything to people that do not understand autism,
Mhm.
it's that get the word normal out of your vocabulary. That because I ask people, well, what is normal?
Mhm.
And not a single person has been able to tell me. Because that's what they say is that these kids are strange and they're different. And yes, they are different. And in comparison to a neurotypical, yes, we are strange. But every child with autism
Mhm.
has a gift. And
Absolutely.
we call it a superpower. If you look on my YouTube channel, on my cover photo, it says that I was born with a superpower, but some people call it Asperger's.
I love it. Yes.
and and these kids that are different, that act that to the parents mostly, I
Mhm.
would I would say embrace their abilities and stop. Don't. I mean, I know that you want to go and do things and live like the other parents who can just send their kids to a daycare and everything be okay. But look, you brought this child into the world.
Mhm.
You created this human being. Take responsibility for the fact that this is your creation, and it is that child, just because they're different doesn't mean that they need to be put on drugs and things so that you can call them normal, and so that when the other parents are around, oh, you're not embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because that's a big problem these days, is how the parents care more about how they look in public
Mhm.
than the mental state of their child. Of course, if you have a kid that's autistic and you take them to Walmart and they freak out and they're sitting there spazzing out on the floor,
Mhm.
instead of grabbing them up and beating them and dragging them out in the car and then yelling at them all the way home, why don't you actually stop and go, okay, well, what's wrong? What's bothering you in this moment? Take time out of your day
Mhm.
to actually ask these people and what can be done, or just come to understand that autism, yes, it can be detrimental to someone's well-being. There are people who are autistic who cannot function properly. They cannot even go to the bathroom on their own, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people like myself or like your child who, if you didn't take time out of the day to pay attention, you'd never know they were different. But once you realize their differences, do not demonize them or label them as this word I hate, retarded.
Oh, I
Uh,
hate it.
but
Yes.
I hate that word because, and one of the reasons I hate that word is because I actually had an experience. One of my first jobs was working at a grocery store,
Mhm.
and I was bagging groceries. The customer, I don't know if you've seen my speech but I speak about what
Yes.
happened
Yes.
at my speech in Vegas. The customers were flooding in, and I began to have a panic attack. And the woman I was bagging groceries for actually, like, she was screaming, "Why would you have a retard working for you? What's wrong with you people?" and and that level of misunderstanding that led me to attempting suicide. On
Mm.
I actually went home and hung myself from the second story window that day because I got fired. I was fired from that job because I had a panic attack, and that while that woman was screaming at me.
Oh my God.
They actually
Mhm.
said that I was disruptive and incapable of working around others. So I was homeless shortly after that. I was not able. It wasn't able to function properly around other people, and other people's lack of understanding that just because someone isn't what you call normal
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they aren't a human too. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I mean, just because someone doesn't, that's like political views. I don't get into politics
Mhm.
mostly because I don't watch TV and I don't know enough about what those monkeys in office are doing to have a conversation about it. But it's just like political views. Just because
Mhm.
someone doesn't agree with you, just because someone isn't just like you, doesn't give you the right to demonize them or push them aside and
Mhm.
not give the aid or help that's needed to get that person through the day. Because look, if you be the blessing for others, you will live within blessings. And there is no more better way to bless somebody than to see them in turmoil and to step in and say, hey, somebody cares.
Yes.
Somebody else is here.
Mhm.
What can I do to what can I do in this situation to better this person's life? Because all it takes all it takes is one person,
Mhm.
a single spark in the darkness to show that there's still light. And that person might end up being a motivational speaker. That person might end up being an advocate. That person might end up changing the world because of a single decision that a single person made to
Mm.
reach out and say, I care.
Wow, that's
So
true.
that's my message to people that
That's
don't
that's a
know.
very good message for really all the people, because it does take one person to really show kindness, show that we care, and it can really affect the rest of the other person's life.
And it only takes one person and one statement to
Hmm.
end that person's life.
Yeah. You know, the Bible mentions that the tongue is the smallest member of our body, but the most powerful. It has the power to give life or to kill. Because I think
Yes,
the words that we speak really can hurt a lot more than physical abuse.
yes, it
Hmm.
can. But there are people till this day that actually suffer from forms of PTSD
Hmm.
from bullying. I know that personally, I battle demons on a normal basis. I have to clear my mind and meditate on a normal basis because the memories of the things that were done in elementary school, middle school, high school, they still haunt me. And I'm
Right.
25 years old. I graduated in 2011. There is no reason that these things should still be on my mind because the people who did them aren't thinking about me.
Hmm.
They're not taking time out of their day to worry about something that they said 15 years ago. Uh,
Right.
but the people who are affected by it, whether they be autistic or not, the people who are affected by it, it haunts them for years.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's some serious business when you think about the fact that something you say today, a single word that you use today, can
Mhm.
resonate with someone 15, 20, 30 years from now.
Wow. That's a good lesson for all of us, I think. The good and the bad words that we speak can affect someone for years and years, for the rest
And
of
all
their
it
life,
takes
really. Hmm.
Yeah, all it takes is, like I said, all it takes is one person being that spark. If
Yeah.
you can, like you know, I saw that you post when you posted on Facebook about us going live.
Mhm.
You shared one of my quotes that I
Yeah.
tell people, and that is, if you can be the spark that lights the way through the darkness for even a single person, your
Yeah.
life will have been your time will have been well spent, and your life will have been worthwhile.
Yes. Oh, I agree with that totally. That's why I posted that. I love that quote.
Thank you.
Well, Mark is asking, what breakthroughs can we be excited about, and what good news are you hearing, if any, about the treatment of people with autism?
Well, one of the greatest breakthroughs that I have heard about of late is actually the pulling away from medication.
Mhm.
And a lot more people are waking up to the reality of self help and
Yes.
meditation. Actually stepping into the inner self instead of going to doctors and paying tons of money for garbage medication that requires you to use more medication.
Mhm.
So that is probably the biggest breakthrough I'm seeing lately. That, as well as more people like yourself who are willing to actually reach out and say, hey, look, this is something that needs to be known. This is something that people need to look at. There are more advocates today that there have been more advocates for autism show up in the past 2 years than there have been in the past 10 years prior.
Wow.
So that's beautiful.
And we need a lot more.
Yes, yes. We're building an army.
Yeah. Amen. That's awesome. So now you are a public speaker, motivational or inspirational speaker. And where can people hear you speak? Or when is your next conference?
My next conference is in September. I'll be speaking at the Power of We Symposium in Chicago. I speak to the power of tranquility and how the most important decisions you will ever make are those that are made when your life is within its greatest turmoil. Because and you can hear me speak on YouTube, Tucker Bearden Inspiring the World. I don't have very many videos out because I'm new to the YouTube platform, but I will be putting more videos out. You can see where I spoke at the Authority Makers Boot Camp in Las Vegas. There, I tell a little bit more about my story. As you can see, there's a picture of a thoroughbred above me.
Yes.
That's one of the things that allowed me to learn to actually socialize with people was my social interaction with horses,
Mhm.
because their heart field, the energy that they give off is so powerful. But
Mhm.
that's a whole nother story in itself.
So can you
Um,
a little bit tell more, elaborate on how did you feel when you had a contact with a horse? Because my son loves his hippotherapy and going to the stable once a week. He loves horses, and I can see other kids in his class as well. They just change. They immediately calm down, and the horse that they sit on as well can sense their emotions, their stress, and moves in a certain way that even relaxes their muscles. It's amazing.
yeah. Yes, it is. Well, the reason for this, I'm sure many of you have heard of our third eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Science has come to prove that this third eye is real. It does exist. It is not an eye like this. It's completely different. Your body gives off electromagnetic signals.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain can the measurements coming from your brain can be the energy coming from your brain can be measured from over 100 yards away, and the energy coming from your heart has been measured up to a mile away. So, one of the things with horses is they have a sixth sense that's astronomically more in tune than ours is.
Yes.
And when you are around horses, if you're in a bad mood, even if you don't show it outwardly and other people can't tell, the horse
Mm-hmm.
can sense it, and they'll actually pick on you and bully you and push you around. And if you're in a good mood, the horse will be more responsive. I mean, these
Mm-hmm.
are 1,200-pound animals. They don't
Oh
do
yeah.
what you tell them to do. They do what you suggest them to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and and I noticed that, like, as I was working with them 7 days a week, 365 days a year, I noticed more and more that the more I controlled my own mental attitude, the more I controlled where I was in my head, the more responsive that these animals were. So, and for the first time, I had a connection to something. Because when it comes to people, I have a very, very hard time connecting emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time understanding the emotions someone is experiencing in the moment. It takes me a little while to catch on and go, oh, they were sad, or oh, wait a minute, they're angry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but with horses, I noticed this with many people with autism.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel what they feel. Like, I can when you're around them, there's a sense of calm,
Mm-hmm.
because that you can feel that energy, their heart field. Because a horse's heart, the energy coming from a horse's heart, is upwards of 10 times the power coming from a human's heart. So
Mm-hmm.
their energy field is 10 times larger and more effective than that of a human's.
Right.
So being around them, it was a sense of calm. And when they were in pain, I could feel it. When they want something, I without even looking at them or hearing anything, I would just know instantly this is what they need. This is what this horse wants. So literally working around thoroughbreds was what pushed me to to work on myself, which actually led me to my very first motivational video by a guy named Ty Lopez. I watched his TEDx talk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm sure everybody's heard of Ty Lopez. You can't be on Facebook and not see one of his Facebook ads.
Right.
like, but that was my first motivational video I ever watched, and I did that because I had been dealing with horses. I've been working with the horses for a while, and I kind of got into my feelings. I got a little bit depressed, and I found a TEDx video, and I instantly knew. I was like, "This is what I'm meant to do. This is
Mm.
my dream is to speak on the TEDx stage, and I do. I speak it into existence every single day. I will be speaking on the TEDx stage, and it'll
Awesome.
probably be sometime next year."
Yes. Yes. So help you God. Yes. Amen. And I know that once you stand on the TEDx stage, you will encourage and inspire so many people. That's why I believe this is your destination as well.
Well,
And
thank you.
whatever I
Thank you.
can do, just let me know. I will, of course, promote your videos. I will promote your inspiration because this is huge. And whatever else I can do, just let me know. I'm here. I really want
Oh,
to
wonderful.
see you succeed and be on TEDx stage.
Well, look, if I could ask you to do anything, it's not for me personally.
Hmm.
This is for generations to come.
Hmm.
And that is to continue to spread the message that you do. I mean, continue to speak to the hearts of people around the world about autism because we are different.
Hmm.
Okay, I mean there's no getting around it. I mean people that live on the spectrum, we're not only hard to work with at times, sometimes we're nearly impossible to work with.
Hmm.
And that the level of understanding that you spread is the change that is required, because I tell people all the time, if you see that the world requires a change, be the change you know the world requires. And
Yes.
that's exactly what you're doing. Is you're doing what I wish each and every person, each and every advocate out there would do, and that is simply reaching out and saying, "Hey, look, there is someone here. Somebody cares." Because like when I was younger, when I was going through all that bullying,
Hmm.
and I felt like there was nobody. I felt like there was, I mean, no one, not a single teacher, not a single student reached out and said, "Hey, I understand."
Hmm.
And I mean, this led me to attempting suicide on multiple occasions.
Hmm.
And thank God that I mean I'm still here,
Hmm.
and thank God that the people who have attempted suicide are still here. But
Yes.
just what you're doing, that's it's a beautiful thing, and no matter how, I know that it's hard to do these podcasts sometimes. It's hard to wake up early, and even if you in a bad mood, you have to wake up and be in that good mood and put on a show for everybody. And I know that's difficult at times, but know that it's but nothing easy's worthwhile.
Hmm.
Nothing. I'll
Well, thank you
always
so
tell people
much.
that. Yes.
I really appreciate your encouragement, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I really want to shine the light and be this spark, like you said, that will touch even one person's life. That's worth it all.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you for coming to my show so early in the morning. Yes, I had to wake up a little bit earlier to get ready, but I have my big coffee mug, so don't worry, I'm well fueled. And usually I wake up in a good mood anyway, so don't worry about that. I just want to share the platform with you, and I want people to hear your story and be
Well, thank
inspired.
you. Well, thank you. And if anybody would like to get in touch with me, I'm very open with my contact information. If you would like me to share that now, I can.
Yes,
Um,
please.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook. You can look me up, Tucker Bearden. You'll see a picture of me in an orange shirt speaking on stage, or you can find me Tucker Bearden Inspiring the World is my public speaking page. Yeah, it's got I think around 20,000 some odd followers on there.
Hmm.
So you can go on there, and I actually. I Let me see real quick. Actually have a business card,
Oh,
and
wow.
I will show, see if I can get it to show on here. Tucker Beard Inspiring the World. This actually
Yeah.
has my information. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I
not
cannot
going
see the
to.
information,
Yeah, you
but
can't actually see it, but my email address is tuckerbearden4321 at Gmail. If I don't see it immediately, I will get to it. Just make sure you put a tagline, an information line that gets my attention. And if you would like to contact me, my business phone is 501-625-2342, and you don't have to call me to book me on anything or to speak at your event. Sometimes people just call me to say, hey, my kid is doing this, what can I do? What do you suggest? Or someone who is in my shoes, or someone who
mhm,
just wants to know, just
yeah.
wants to talk. I'm here.
Well, thank you so much. If you can comment below the video with your contact details once again,
Okay.
so people who will watch it on replay or who are watching live, they will be able to go and have your contact written
Okay.
down under this video. That would be awesome.
Awesome. Quick question. How? I've never been on Be Live. Or will I be?
On
Will I
on
be?
Facebook. On Facebook,
Oh, it's on
under
Facebook.
on my page, Autism Mama Bear,
Okay.
you will go under this video and you will put your comments. It's just directly to Facebook, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Well, I do
Fantastic.
appreciate you so much for having me on here, and anything that I can do to help you as well. If you ever want me to promote you on my page, just let me know because I
Well,
will be
thank you.
sharing this with everyone.
Thank you so much. We're a team, and I'm really honored and privileged to have you on my show and hear the word from, a person who went through so much and achieved even more. And I know this is just the beginning of your great career and great speaking arrangements. And I really look forward to seeing you next year on TEDx platform.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you.
You have a
God bless
blessed
you,
day.
Tucker. Have a
God
good
bless
day.
you.
Thanks. Bye.